Okay, let me just address the elephant in the room. Yes, the smoke detector has not been fixed. I've lived in this house for God knows how many years. Not a single one has the batteries in. I have to fix all of them, including climbing up on ladders to the top of the. No, I'm not doing all that. Deal with it, okay? Jesus Christ, babies. I don't know exactly what I was listening to before I got into hip hop in the late 2010s. I pretty much just picked songs out of what stuck out to me on the radio, miscellaneous nothings that sounded good to me, and then, like every edgy kid in 2018, I fell in love with Joyner Lucas, Logic, and Eminem. In hindsight, they were kind of the lyrical miracle holy trinity back then. They would rap in double time and nothing would seem cooler to me. Time passed though, and the only one of those artists I still actually listen to is Eminem. And I was thinking about it. Isn't that weird? His lyrics are incredibly vile and soaked in thinly veiled bigotry. Logic or Joyner or even those YouTube rappers like Gone and Crypt are just Eminem without the slurs, right? With the exception of Kendrick, Cole, and a few others, most students of Eminem are utterly insufferable to listen to. Normally, that would be tangible proof that he's insufferable as well. But he's not. I'm listening to this man rap about killing women and gay people, and I choose it any day over Logic rapping about how everyone should love each other. Is something wrong with me? Yes. Now, before we tackle the slur-sized elephant in the room, I think it's important we put Eminem in as crystal clear a context as we can. Marshall Mathers rose to prominence sometime in the early 2000s as a foul-mouthed agent of chaos. Despite having a vocabulary far more distasteful than many of his contemporaries, he was allowed into the heart of pop culture by the same hands who thought someone like Tupac was too vulgar. However, attributing all of his success to his race is a simple answer to a multifaceted question. And so, you'll have to forgive me, but this is the glazing part of the essay. I'll put time codes if you want to skip it. I'm kidding, I won't do that. Watch my video in it. We can't talk about Eminem's career trajectory without first addressing that he's, frankly speaking, one of the most technically proficient rappers to ever touch a microphone. With the exception of perhaps Tech-9, Kendrick, Nicki, Busta Rhymes, no one's really been able to do as many things with their voice while staying on beat like Eminem can. That Pitchfork review was right. His flow and delivery shoot out dopamine like Big Sean hooks. Vocally speaking, Slim Shady can pretty much do everything, except singing. I really wish he would stop doing that. In addition to being his very own specific breed of throat goat, Eminem is also one of the best storytellers hip-hop has ever seen. That might sound like a hot take, but it shouldn't be. We already know Stan is a masterpiece, but there is also Kim, which essayist Hunter Taylor described as manic, beautiful, sad, fucking weird, and hypnotic, or Guilty Conscience with Dr. Dre, or Love Game with Kendrick Lamar, or Cleaning Out My Closet, or Bad Guy, the instrumental of which I'm using right now. And even now, when Eminem seems to have lost so much of what blew him up in the first place, his storytelling skills are one of the only things he has kept with him in these passing years. 2020's Darkness is an enthralling piece on gun violence that unfolds like a horror film where you can't tell what's real and what's a metaphor. Even Revival has some fantastic stories in the form of Castle and A Rose, which is crazy because we don't talk about Revival. But once again, there is a slur-sized elephant in the room. Most of those songs contain some form of bigotry or another. In Guilty Conscience, he goes against Dr. Dre and convinces some guy to assault a minor. In Love Game, he fantasizes about creating a massive sinkhole and burying a stinkhole in it, which is a great rhyme scheme, but that's neither here nor there. And as for Kim, what else is there to say? It's a masterfully written story, but that's the mother of his child. That kid was gonna have to grow up listening to a song of her dad slitting her mom's throat. I know from what is available to us online that the mother in question wasn't the best mother, but just how far can anger and the artistic desire to express that anger be used to justify one's actions? I know in my head that a work of art does not need to be morally upright to be considered good. But Art, the sentimental bastard, doesn't live in the head. He likes the mushy, soft stuff. And the mushy, soft stuff clenches into myself when I hear Kim. I know I'm hearing something that took a great deal of ingenuity and talent to create, but I am hearing them being used for something so deeply vile. How do we reconcile that? Do we need to? In Jeremy D. Larson's review of the Marshall Mathers LP, he talks about that time Eminem performed with Elton John, as if to prove somehow that all the things he said in his albums tell nothing of his perceived bigotry. But, as Larson put it was a feckless, empty gesture. If Eminem had made an album saying such things about African people, or if I was a woman, or if I was gay, I imagine I wouldn't be so open to hearing him out. I know there are a ton of women and gay people who feel differently, and that's understandable, but I had to ask myself, how much art is only great to me because of my demographic? I mean, how deep does this rabbit hole go? This whole time, has Tom MacDonald actually been amazing, but I just didn't give him the time of the day because of his bigotry? No, he's terrible. But still, it's worth asking. If Eminem had released the Marshall Mathers LP in a community filled with women and or gay people, better example, if he had released the Marshall Mathers LP, but with every derogatory statement about women and or gay people replaced with statements about black people, would I still hold it in such a high regard? Would I place it higher than I would a Tom MacDonald album? Yes. Tom MacDonald is trash, but it's the same issue with Kendrick using the F-bomb in Anti-Diaries. I adore that song, but there's no point in that song where I heard a word that has been used to pull me down, used under the thinly veiled guise of narrative. Can art, even great art, really be kept exempt from morality? The song I mentioned before, Bad Guy, is a story written from the perspective of Matthew, who is the little brother of the deranged Eminem fan depicted in his song Stan, which, by the way, if you didn't know this somehow, the term Stan actually came from that song. Anyway, in that song, Matthew kills Eminem and then reveals he's actually a metaphor for the people on the receiving end of those hurtful things Eminem has been saying his entire career. He represents his guilt, the time up that he hasn't acknowledged, his penance. The song came out in 2013. In the years since Eminem released that song, he's called Tyler the Creator the F-bomb on Kamikaze, his comeback album. He apologized for that on another album, the A-side of which he made a joke about the Ariana Grande suicide bomber, the same album on which he made that stunning piece on the importance of gun control. This essay stands more as a question than an answer. A call for a discussion, a call for us to look at that slur-sized elephant. The Marshall Mathers LP paints the picture of a homophobe, a transphobe, an incel redirecting the hate the woman in his life has sent his way, and I think it's one of the best albums I've ever listened to. A while back, I was hanging out with a female friend of mine. I have those. And Eminem came up. She acknowledged that she liked him as a kid, but once she started taking in his lyrics, she couldn't really enjoy most of it the same way. I pointed out that I know his lyrics are vile, but I still love his music. She didn't say anything, but bless her heart, the look on her face, to me, said, "That's easy for you to say." I wonder what my face said in response. I'm not always an open book, so I don't know if she could tell. I don't know if she could tell that the entire time I was just thinking, damn. She's right. Finally, I'm done. God dang. Wait, you Gen Z fuckers, don't hop to the next video just yet. I'm a published author. This is my book, The Imaginary Parts of Lucifer Heart. It's about a young boy who learns the hard way that women are not a road to run away from your past on. It would mean the world to me if you bought it. The ebook is only like $4 on Amazon. So is my Patreon, but I doubt you brokies can afford to pay for that monthly, so just get the book instead. I know there is no irony in me saying that with a broken smoke detector, bitch.